Echoes of empire, the enduring legacy of Rome's great cities. For millennia, civilizations have risen and fallen, leaving their indelible mark upon the earth. But few have shaped the very bedrock of our world, our laws, our language, our ambitions, our very concept of civilization like Rome. Beyond the legions, beyond the emperors, lay the true arteries of this colossal power, her cities. Not merely bastions of might, but breathing organisms of ambition, innovation, and, at times, astonishing brutality. These were the crucibles where the Roman dream was forged, where cultures collided, and where the echoes of empire still resonate in the very foundations of our modern world. Join us as we journey back through time, digging beneath the dust and the concrete, to unearth the hidden stories of the Roman Empire's greatest urban wonders. From the eternal city herself, to forgotten outposts and vital provincial hubs. Each brick, each ruined archway, each buried mosaic, has a tale to tell. This is Echoes of Empire. Rome, Caput Mundi, head of the world. Our odyssey begins where all roads once led, Rome. Not merely a city, but an idea, a promise. The Caput Mundi, the head of the world. A sprawling metropolis, home to over 1 million souls at its peak, born from myth and driven by an insatiable will to conquer. Legend tells of twin brothers, Romulus and Remus, abandoned by their mother and suckled by a she-wolf, laying the first stones of this legendary city. But the truth, though less mythical, is no less extraordinary. A collection of humble Iron Age villages, strategically positioned on those very 7 hills overlooking the river Tiber, destined to become the heart of an empire spanning 3 continents. The Tiber was Rome's lifeblood, her highway to the sea, connecting her to the wider world. It brought goods, people, and, crucially, ideas. From these humble beginnings, Rome developed a unique civic identity, fiercely independent, deeply pragmatic, and profoundly ambitious. They were builders, not just of empires, but of cities. And what a city they built! A testament to engineering prowess and an unyielding belief in their own divine destiny. The Forum Romanum, the beating heart of the Republic and later the Empire, was more than just a marketplace. It was the epicenter of law, politics, and daily life, a monumental complex designed to inspire, awe, and reinforce Roman authority. But even this paled in comparison to the sheer audacity of structures like the Colosseum, an arena of blood and spectacle designed to hold 50,000 roaring spectators. It was a brutal testament to imperial power and the Roman appetite for entertainment. Its intricate underground passages and ingenious mechanisms allowed for astonishing theatrical effects, turning a mere game into a living, breathing drama. Then there was a Pantheon, a temple to all gods, later a church, and perhaps Rome's most enduring architectural triumph. Its colossal unreinforced concrete dome, a feat unmatched for over a millennium, still captivates with its perfect geometry and the ethereal light pouring through its central oculus. It's a profound reminder of Roman mastery over materials and their quest for perfection in engineering. Yet, perhaps their most transformative innovation lay not in grand monuments, but in the unseen or stretching across the landscape, the aqueducts. These stone arteries, some hundreds of miles long, channel clean, fresh water into the city's public baths, fountains, and private homes. They were the very veins of civilization, allowing Rome to sustain its massive population and maintain an unprecedented level of public hygiene. This was a true genius of Roman urban planning, a system designed not just for glory, but for survival and prosperity. For the average Roman citizen, life in the urbs, the city, was a vibrant, often chaotic, and utterly immersive experience. From the grandeur of the Forum to the crowded, multi-story insulae, Rome pulsed with an energy that mirrored its empire's heartbeat. Social life revolved fundamentally around the public baths, which were far more than just places for cleansing. They were the original social clubs, open to nearly everyone for a nominal fee, places for gossip, business deals, exercise, and intellectual discourse. But Rome was also a city of stark contrasts, a microcosm of the vast empire commanded. The opulent villas of the wealthy elite, with their exquisite mosaics, lush peristyle gardens, and private libraries, stood testament to imperial success and personal fortune. Yet, just around the corner, millions lived in cramped, often precarious apartment blocks, testament to the immense pressures of rapid urbanization. This constant interplay between breathtaking grandeur and often challenging grit defined the Roman experience for its diverse populace. Rome was a perpetual melting pot. Traders from across the vast empire, from Britannia to Egypt, from Hispania to Syria, constantly flowed into the city, bringing not just goods like pottery, wine, and olive oil, but also their languages, their customs, and their myriad beliefs. Egyptian priests walked alongside Celtic merchants, Greek philosophers debated in the forums, and Africans served with distinction in the legions. This constant influx of diverse cultures enriched Roman society profoundly, even as it sometimes challenged its core identity. It was a true global city, millennia before the term existed. For centuries, Rome was governed by powerful rulers, from the pragmatic Senate of the Republic to the autocratic emperors. Figures like Augustus, who famously claimed to have found Rome a city of brick and left it a city of marble, oversaw unprecedented architectural, social, and political transformation. Their visions, their ambitions, and their sometimes brutal realities were etched into every stone, every monument, and every law. Yet, Rome's most profound and enduring legacy wasn't just in the grand monuments or the vast territories. It was in the systems it created. Its sophisticated legal code, which formed the basis of civil law for countless nations. Its principles of governance and administration. Its innovative road networks, which physically connected an empire. Its administrative efficiency. These formed the very blueprint for empires, nations, and urban planning for millennia to come. Today, modern Rome stands directly upon the shoulders of its ancient predecessor. Fragments of temples emerge in bustling piazzas. Ancient roads still dictate modern street plans. The very language we speak carries Latin roots. The echoes of Rome, the Caput Mundi, are not just whispers in the ruins. They are the fundamental chords of our modern world. Its story is not over. It simply continues, in a different, ever-evolving form. The grandeur may have faded, but the spirit of innovation and the very idea of a global city endure. Pompeii, the frozen city. A city frozen in time. From the pulsating heart of the empire, we travel south to the Bay of Naples. Here, nestled beneath the seemingly benevolent slopes of Mount Vesuvius, lay a vibrant Roman town known as Pompeii. Unlike Rome, which constantly rebuilt over its past, Pompeii offers us something infinitely rarer, a city frozen in the very moment of its demise. On that fateful day in August, 79 AD, Pompeii was a bustling resort town. Its streets teemed with merchants, its bathhouses welcomed weary travelers, and its citizens enjoyed a life of relative prosperity. We know this not just from texts, but because Vesuvius did not merely destroy, it preserved. Within hours, a suffocating blanket of volcanic ash and pumice entombed the city, sealing it from the ravages of time and looters. What we find today is an unparalleled archaeological treasure, a perfectly preserved cross-section of Roman life, from the grand villas of the elite to the humble taverns of the working class. Graffiti on walls tells us of love affairs, political slogans, and everyday banter. Shop signs advertise bakeries and laundries. The remains of meals sit on tables. It's a living museum, offering a visceral connection to the people who walked these streets 2 millennia ago. The day Vesuvius awoke, it did so with terrifying fury. An enormous ash cloud billowed into the sky, raining pumice and ash onto the city. For hours, darkness descended, and the air grew thick with suffocating dust. But it was the pyroclastic flows, superheated waves of gas and volcanic debris, that delivered the final, instantaneous blow. They swept through Pompeii with unimaginable speed, incinerating everything in their path, freezing life in its final, desperate moments. The haunting plaster casts of Pompeii's victims are perhaps the most poignant artifacts of all. Formed by pouring plaster into voids left by decomposed bodies, they capture the final gestures, the last agonies of men, women, children, and even animals. They are a stark, intimate reminder of the human cost of geological power and a direct link to the individuals who lived and died in this Roman town. Pompeii is more than a ruin. It is a time capsule. It provides an unparalleled window into the everyday life of the Roman Empire, from its vibrant markets and grand public buildings to its private homes, its art, and its hidden corners. Archaeologists continue to unearth new revelations, each discovery deepening our understanding of Roman culture, society, and the sheer vibrancy of life 2 millennia ago. Its silent streets whisper tales not of emperors and battles, but of ordinary people living extraordinary lives, brought to an abrupt and devastating end. Ostia Antica, Rome's gateway to the world, the port city's vital role. If Rome was the heart of the empire, then Ostia Antica was its vital artery. Located at the mouth of the river Tiber, just 19 miles from the capital, Ostia was Rome's primary port, a bustling gateway through which flowed the very lifeblood of the empire, trade. Founded as a military colony in the 4th century BC, Ostia grew with Rome, becoming indispensable. Every grain of wheat from Egypt, every amphora of wine from Gaul, every exotic spice from the east, first passed through Ostia's docks before reaching the insatiable appetite of the imperial city. It was a crucible of cultures, a microcosm of the entire Roman world compressed into one vibrant, utilitarian city. What sets Ostia apart from other Roman ruins is its remarkable preservation of ordinary life. Unlike Pompeii, it wasn't destroyed in an instant, but slowly abandoned over centuries, leaving behind intact bakeries with their ovens, laundries, public latrines, and even fire stations. Its multi-story apartment blocks, the insulae, are better preserved here than anywhere else in the Roman world, offering a vivid glimpse into the daily lives of Rome's working and middle classes. Ostia was a true cosmopolitan center. Its population was a vibrant mix of retired soldiers, wealthy merchants, freed slaves, and immigrants drawn by the promise of work and opportunity. Religious cults from across the empire, including early Christianity, flourished here, often sharing spaces with traditional Roman temples. The city's Mithraea, underground temples dedicated to the Persian god Mithras, are some of the best preserved anywhere. The sheer volume and complexity of trade passing through Ostia required sophisticated organization. The square of the corporations, adorned with mosaics depicting the different shipping guilds, from those dealing in grain and olive oil to those transporting wild beasts for the arena, illustrates the intricate network that fed the capital. This ancient port foreshadowed the logistical complexities of global trade we see today. Today, Ostia Antica lies inland, the coastline having shifted over centuries. But its silent streets still whisper tales of vital commerce, multicultural exchange, and the daily grind that sustained an empire. It reminds us that behind the imperial glory of Rome lay a vast, efficient machine, powered by cities like Ostia, the indispensable gateway to the world. Split, Diocletian's palace. A retreat for an emperor, a city for the ages. The emperor's vision and abdication. From the bustling ports of Rome, we journey across the Adriatic Sea to the rugged Dalmatian coast in modern-day Croatia. Here, unlike any other Roman city, an entire urban center sprung forth from the ultimate act of imperial power and withdrawal. This is Split, born from the extraordinary vision of Emperor Diocletian. Diocletian was an emperor unlike any other. He rose from humble origins to seize control of an empire teetering on the brink of collapse, ravaged by civil war and economic crisis. His solution was revolutionary. The Tetrarchy, dividing the vast empire into 4 administrative zones, each with its own ruler. And after decades of relentless leadership, in 305 AD, Diocletian did the unthinkable. He voluntarily abdicated. For his retirement, he built not a mere villa, but a fortress palace of monumental scale, effectively a self-contained city covering over 30,000 square meters. Its design was a hybrid, part imperial residence, part military camp, part fortified city. It reflected his reign, orderly, defensive, absolute. He chose a secluded spot, near his birthplace, to live out his days as a simple vegetable gardener, away from the political machinations of Rome. Diocletian's palace was a monument to his singular vision and his immense power. But what happened after his death was perhaps even more remarkable. As the Western Roman Empire crumbled and invasions swept across Europe, the highly defensible walls of the abandoned palace became a beacon of safety. Refugees, townspeople, and eventually entire communities began to settle inside its formidable perimeter. Over centuries, this imperial retreat organically transformed into a thriving medieval and then modern city. The spaces once occupied by imperial guards, vast halls, and the emperor's private chambers were subdivided, adapted, and built upon. The mausoleum of Diocletian, originally his tomb, was consecrated as a cathedral, its ancient pagan stones repurposed for Christian worship. Today, Diocletian's palace is not a ruin. It is a living, breathing city, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, where 3,000 people still reside within its ancient walls. Its cafes, shops, and homes are seamlessly integrated into its 1,700-year-old Roman foundations. Split offers a unique window into the unexpected resilience of Roman architecture, adapting and enduring through continuous human occupation. It's a testament to how the bones of an empire can become the living flesh of a new civilization. Timgad, the Roman grid in the desert, a colony born of empire. Our journey now takes us far from the Mediterranean shores, deep into the arid landscapes of North Africa, to present-day Algeria. Here, a city stands, a profound symbol of Roman order imposed upon a wild frontier. Timgad, or as the Romans called it, Thamagadi, founded ex nihilo, from nothing, in 100 AD by Emperor Trajan. Timgad was built primarily as a military colony for veterans of the 3rd Augustan Legion. It was meticulously planned, a perfect square, a shining example of Roman urban design, a geometric jewel in the heart of a desert. Its purpose was clear: to serve as a bastion of Roman civilization in a newly conquered territory, a model city for the native population, showcasing the benefits of Roman rule. Veterans were granted land, and the city provided all the amenities of Roman life: a grand forum, a massive 3,500-seat theater, no less than 14 large public baths, temples, libraries, and triumphal arches. It was designed to impress, to integrate, and to stabilize. Life in Timgad, though geographically remote, mirrored the urban comforts of Rome itself. The veteran soldiers, having served their time, brought Roman culture with them, establishing farms, families, and businesses. The city quickly grew beyond its initial military purpose, attracting merchants and local tribes who adopted Roman customs and enjoyed the benefits of Roman infrastructure. An inscription in the forum famously declared, "To hunt, to bathe, to play, to laugh, this is to live." A simple yet profound philosophy that underscored the very essence of Roman civilization. Timgad's dramatic decline came not from sudden catastrophe, but from the slow erosion of Roman power, followed by Vandal and Arab invasions. Yet, paradoxically, its very abandonment and the encroaching desert sand became its ultimate preservers. Buried for centuries, it emerged remarkably intact, a perfectly legible blueprint of Roman urban planning. Today, Timgad is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a silent testament to Rome's ambition to impose order, culture, and power even in the most distant corners of its empire. It stands as a powerful reminder that wherever the legions marched, the city followed, bringing with it the Roman way of life. It is the Roman grid, etched forever in the desert. Constantinople, the city that outlasted Rome. When the Western Empire crumbled, one city stood unbroken, defiant against time and tide: Constantinople, the second Rome, and for 1,000 years, its better. Founded by Emperor Constantine the Great in 330 AD, on the ancient site of Byzantium, Constantinople was chosen for its geography. Straddling Europe and Asia, it overlooked the Bosporus Strait, commanding the sea lanes of empire. The city's natural harbor, the Golden Horn, allowed for naval dominance. Triple-layered walls guarded the landward side. With its elevation, water systems, and grain routes, Constantinople could endure sieges for years. Constantine envisioned a Christian capital to rival and eventually replace Old Rome. He adorned it with imperial statues, forums, triumphal columns, and Christian basilicas. At its heart rose the Hagia Sophia, built later under Emperor Justinian I. Its dome seemed to float in heaven, a marvel of Byzantine engineering, unmatched in size and beauty for centuries. Gold mosaics glittered, markets buzzed. Bureaucrats in purple robes oversaw the affairs of a sprawling Christian empire. Though Rome fell to barbarian invasions in 476 AD, Constantinople thrived. It became the beating heart of the Byzantine Empire, a continuation of Rome in all but name. Justinian reconquered parts of the West. He codified Roman law in the Corpus Juris Civilis, the foundation of much modern legal thought. Constantinople was the world's richest city, bridging Western Christendom and the Islamic caliphates of the East. The city was a crucible of theological debates and schisms, icons, councils, heresies. Riots erupted. Emperors were overthrown by mobs or monks. In 1204, the unthinkable happened. Crusaders from the west sacked the Christian capital. Gold, relics, and texts were plundered. The city never fully recovered. By the 15th century, Constantinople was surrounded by the rising power of the Ottoman Turks. On May 29, 1453, after a 53-day siege, Sultan Mehmed II breached the Theodosian walls. The last emperor, Constantine XI, died sword in hand. The city was renamed Istanbul. Minarets rose beside ancient domes. Hagia Sophia became a mosque. And yet, Roman whispers still echoed through its stones. Modern Istanbul is a city of layers. Roman aqueducts, Byzantine mosaics, Ottoman palaces, all woven into one metropolis. The Hippodrome, once filled with 100,000 chanting Romans, is now a public square. The Hagia Sophia, turned mosque, museum, and mosque again, remains a symbol of resilience, beauty, and the eternal tension between faiths and empires. Constantinople was more than a city. It was an idea that Rome could evolve, endure, and reimagine itself. Antioch, Rome's eastern jewel. Nestled between the mountains and the Orange River, on the edge of Syria, rose a city that would be the empire's eye to the east, Antioch. Founded in 300 BC by Seleucus I Nicator, one of Alexander the Great's generals, Antioch was strategically positioned at the crossroads of Mesopotamia, Anatolia, and the Mediterranean. It was planned with Hellenistic symmetry, a grid of marble-paved streets shaded by colonnades and cooled by mountain breezes. With a population that soared over 500,000, Antioch quickly rivaled Alexandria and even Rome in wealth and importance. When the Romans annexed Syria in 64 BC under Pompey the Great, they saw Antioch not as a conquest, but as a prize to be polished. Antioch was the empire's portal to Persia, India, and the Silk Road. Merchants from Armenia, Parthia, and Arabia traded spices, pearls, silks, and ivory. The Roman road system radiated eastward from Antioch, bringing not only goods, but armies. It served as a launchpad for imperial campaigns, from Trajan's war against Parthia to the eastern ambitions of Lucius Verus. Roman emperors made Antioch their winter capital. Palaces were built along the slopes of Mount Silpes, with panoramic views over the city. Antioch was a city of diversity. Greek temples, Roman baths, Semitic shrines, Jewish synagogues, and early Christian churches all stood within its walls. It was here, not Jerusalem, that followers of Christ were first called Christians. Apostles like Paul and Barnabas preached in its streets. The city hosted theological debates that helped shape early Christianity. Antioch became a patriarchate, one of the 5 most powerful Christian sees, alongside Rome, Constantinople, Alexandria, and Jerusalem. Yet, Antioch was also infamous. The Roman satirist Juvenal quipped that the filth of the Orontes flowed all the way to the Tiber, mocking Antioch's perceived decadence. Chariot races in the great Hippodrome, lavish banquets in terrace villas. It was said Antioch loved 2 things, gods and pleasures. The city's main street stretched nearly 7 kilometers, the longest colonnaded avenue in the empire, lit at night by oil lamps. In 115 AD, a massive earthquake struck while Emperor Trajan was in the city. Thousands perished. Antioch rebuilt again and again, but nature was not kind. Another quake in 526 AD killed over 250,000 people. The city never fully recovered. Arab forces captured it in 637. Byzantines retook it. Crusaders claimed it during the First Crusade. But by the time the Ottomans arrived in the 16th century, its ancient glories had faded. Today, modern Antakya in Turkey sits atop the ruins. Few grand monuments remain. Many lost to earthquakes, invasions, or swallowed by time. Yet archaeologists have uncovered intricate mosaics, Roman aqueducts, and the Church of St. Peter, carved into a cave, possibly one of the oldest Christian worship sites in the world. Antioch was not just Rome's city in the east. It was Rome's reflection in the east, a place where cultures clashed, faiths flourished, and the empire touched the horizon of the known world. Alexandria, the lighthouse of knowledge. To the south and east of Rome, across desert sands and along the Mediterranean shore, rose a city not born of Roman ambition, but one that Rome would come to revere, fight over, and inherit: Alexandria. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great, standing on the Egyptian coast, sketched the outline of a new city into the sand. He would never live to see it finished, but what followed would become one of the most storied cities in the ancient world. Built between the Mediterranean Sea and Lake Maeotis, Alexandria was destined to be a cosmopolitan jewel. Greek architects carved wide streets on the grid, lined with stoas and shaded arcades. Ptolemaic pharaohs ruled from marble palaces while priests offered incense in Egyptian temples. Alexandria's heart was not just its harbor, it was its brain. The Great Library of Alexandria was the largest collection of knowledge in the ancient world. Papyrus scrolls numbering in the hundreds of thousands filled the shelves. Scholars copied every book brought by ship into the harbor. Geometry, astronomy, medicine, botany, all dissected and debated. Hey, Euclid wrote the elements. Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of the earth. Herophilos dissected the human body to understand the nervous system. The Mauseon, the temple to the muses, was not a museum, but a university, an academy, and a sanctuary for thinkers. Under Rome, Alexandria remained vital. Its grain fed the empire. Its glassmakers supplied elite households. Its port was second only to Rome's own. Roman emperors visited. Trajan and Hadrian admired its monuments. Christianity took root early, but persecution followed. The catechetical school of Alexandria produced intellectual giants like Origen and Clement. Martyrs like Catherine of Alexandria became legends. The city suffered religious turmoil. Pagan temples clashed with Christian churches. In 391 AD, the library, or what remained of it, was reportedly burned during anti-pagan riots. Then came the Arabs in 641 AD. Alexandria lost its primacy to the newly founded city of Cairo. The once glittering city dimmed. Much of ancient Alexandria now lies under water or buried beneath the modern city. Earthquakes and rising seas swallowed the royal quarter. But archaeologists have found submerged sphinxes, colossal statues, and temple remains. Divers glide through Cleopatra's palace ruins beneath the harbor. The Pharos Lighthouse, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, stood over 100 meters tall. Its stones now form the base of the medieval citadel of Cape Bay. Though fractured by time, Alexandria's light never fully went out. It was not merely a city. It was an idea that knowledge, when gathered and shared, could shape the world. Carthage, the empire that challenged Rome. Long before the name Caesar echoed through the Senate halls of Rome, another power dominated the western Mediterranean: Carthage. Carthage was not Roman. It was older, founded by Phoenician settlers from Tyre around 814 BC. These were seafarers, master traders. They spoke a Semitic tongue and worshipped deities like Baal-Hamon and Tanit. Carthage rose in North Africa like a jewel, elegant, walled, thriving. Its double harbor, one for commerce and the other for warships, was a marvel of engineering. At its peak, the city boasted over 700,000 inhabitants, making it one of the largest metropolises of the ancient world. The Carthaginians were cosmopolitan. Merchants, artisans, and noble families from across the Mediterranean walked its streets. They traded gold from West Africa, silver from Iberia, tin from Britain, and purple dye from Tyre. Women held unusual social power compared to Roman women. Some even owned ships and managed estates. Agriculture was highly developed. Mago, a Carthaginian writer, penned an influential treatise on farming that would later be translated into Latin and used in Rome. They buried their dead in chamber tombs. They carved stele covered in inscriptions. They built temples that aligned with stars. Carthage was wealthy, but Rome was growing. Their interests clashed. In Sicily first, 3 Punic Wars erupted over a century. The second, the most infamous, Hannibal Barca, a military genius, led his army and wore elephants across the Alps. It was one of the most daring feats in military history. At Cannae, Hannibal annihilated over 50,000 Roman soldiers. Rome shook. The world watched. But Hannibal lacked reinforcements. Rome adapted. Scipio Africanus struck at Carthage itself. The Battle of Zama in 202 BC ended the war, and Carthage dominance. By the Third War, Rome wasn't fighting for survival, but supremacy. Senator Cato the Elder ended every speech with Carthago delendarius, Carthage must have destroyed. In 146 BC, they did just that. After a brutal siege, the city was razed, temples torn down, libraries burned, survivors enslaved. Legend says the Romans salted the earth. But archaeology tells us it was rebuilt, eventually, as a Roman city under Julius Caesar. Roman Carthage rose from the ashes. Augustus made it a colony. Later emperors built a new forum, baths, amphitheaters. It became the second largest city in the Western Roman Empire, behind Rome itself. It was also a Christian center. Tertullian, Cyprian, early church fathers preached here. By the 3rd century, Carthage rivaled Alexandria in theological influence. But Vandal invasions in the 5th century, followed by Byzantine reconquest and Arab conquest in the 7th century, marked its final decline. Today, on the outskirts of Tunis, fragments of Carthage remain. The Antonine Baths, with soaring columns and vaulted chambers, overlook the sea. The Punic Tophet, with urns and stelae, whispers of ancient rites. Mosaics, walls, shattered sculptures, all buried under centuries of conquest and sand. But Carthage is not forgotten. It is a story of ambition, genius, and tragic rivalry. A city that dared to challenge Rome and left an echo too powerful to erase. Subscribe to uncover more buried truths, more forgotten cities, more lost legends. This is Echoes of Empire.